Hi everybody, welcome back. You might hear a humming in the background. I have my AC on because it's still like 86 degrees out here. And yeah, a little bit too hot to not have it on right now. I am Joe the Wigit, and I am the author of Emperor of Continia, book 1 of the Draman saga. And I have been reading, or I should say narrating, my book for you all. And tonight, I am doing chapter 7. Before I get into it though, this is an important chapter. It set a strong narrative for the book. It's a short one. It's only like 3.5 pages, so bear with me and enjoy. Rogart and the king stared at a huge map that was as large as 2 dining tables side by side. 3 other knights were also staring at the map in thought. Across the map from Rogart and the king stood Jogin, lord of the South Castle. To Jogin's right stood Gren, lord of the East Castle, and at the other end of the map, near the bottom, was Ashen, lord of the West Castle, looking at the other 3 while playing with his dagger. All 4 men were the king's generals and chief battle advisors. The map was enchanted to show the weather and conditions of every city and piece of landscape in Continia. The room was well lit, with every candle and 2 very large and decorative chandeliers hanging from the ceiling ablaze. Ashen stood up at last. "My king, so it's true then. The Ranchi were advancing on our city. What do we have to worry about when no army has yet even looked upon these walls?" "What are the Plains Elves?" asked Jogin, a large man with a full red beard, standing 7 feet tall. "I received word from their king no more than a week ago, asking for help. The next day an eagle arrived with another message saying that the Plains Elves had retreated into the desert of Titus, the southern tip where the Ranchi would not follow," the king said, looking at Jogin. "I will send a small force to aid them, your majesty. Just give me the word," said Gren, the largest of the 4. He had a dark brown goatee and large brown hair that reached just past his shoulders. He was a massive man, standing 7 feet and 5 inches tall and built like a boulder, round, but very strong. "No, Gwen. We will need your help in your own home, I fear. It would be best if you stayed here with your army." The king looked up from the map at his 4 generals. "Recent scouts have spotted a force of at least 2,000 Ranchi, no more than 3 weeks' march south of Werrigan. I have never heard of a force so large before. I have always known the Ranchi hated our people because of our past relations in the Great War, more than 500 years ago. Since then, they have refused any contact with any civilization. It seems that they got word of the 3 that arrived yesterday, and have come out of anger for our aiding those 3. "So you believe the scholars, my king?" Ashen asked, looking at Rogart. "All you have to do is see John, and you will know that they are true." "He could be just a mistake. There is no telling if what is written will come true or not. Why then should we run on faith of the unknown?" said Ashen, glaring at Rogart. "Even if it were true, we are still taking a huge risk in trusting this little man to accomplish his goal, a goal that not even he knows about. How then do you explain the other 2 showing up exactly as the scholars said they would? Or how I went to the very cave written and met John again just as they said?" Rogart was getting a little irritated with Ashen at this point. "So even if what you say is true, Rogart, are you willing to risk your life for a long shot such as this? We need you here, in command of your army," Ashen said in an even tone. "I am. Besides, we will be back before the army of the Ranchi comes within our borders. I need to protect them. Who better in all of Werrigan to protect the lives of these 3 than me, Rogart, lord of the North Castle?" "That is why I am sending you to go with them, Rogart," the king said, looking down at the map. "It seems that the straight route to the tower city of the Margastrat will not be the safest route to take. It is dead in the path of the Ranchi army. You'll need to slip behind them." Rogart studied the map for a few minutes. "You're right, your majesty. We will travel along the Righorn River, west, and head south through the Righorn Valley. The river will take us all the way through if we are careful." "That is a very dangerous route to take, Rogart." "Yeah, I know. But I do not see another way around that will get us there in time." "So be it. You will leave first thing in the morning. Be safe, Rogart. We need this mission to be successful. We need you and John back safely." "Yes, your majesty," Rogart said, bowing. "I have a lot to do before tomorrow." "You may leave," the king said, and gestured towards the door. "One more thing, Rogart," the king said just as Rogart reached the door. "Yes, your majesty." "Bring me the head of the one responsible for the death of my nephew." "With pleasure, my king," Rogart said, and bowed before going through the door. Valaris and I sat there by the fountain for many more hours, holding each other and watching the stars in the sky. "I have to do this, John. I have to find him. I have to kill him." It's the only way I can be free of the guilt and my obligation. And I need your help. I looked her in the eyes. I will do the best that I can, and you know that. I will help you do anything. Besides, I can't let my first love leave me so easily, can I? She gave me a big smile and rested her head on my shoulder. It's getting late, you two. Maybe you should think about getting back to the keep now for a late meal, Rogart said, coming around the corner. I figured I'd find Valaris. I was expecting to find you here as well, John. But yet, I should have expected it. Come on, you two. Let's go. We have a busy day tomorrow. I looked at the fountain one last time and tossed the coins that Rogart had given me into the clear water at the statue's feet for good luck, making a wish. We got up and followed Rogart down the main street towards the keep. Shopkeepers and innkeepers were lighting the lamps outside their places of business. There was a faint sound of cheerful music coming from the many taverns lining the street. The keep loomed up before us, fully lit by many torches surrounding its walls all the way up to the rooftop. Shadows danced along the keep walls, giving a ghostly appearance. It was an amazing sight, especially to one who had never seen anything like it before. The guard spotted my robes and gave a startled glance. One lives? The guard asked Rogart as we passed. Never mind what you have seen here. It seems you're a little bit too educated for a typical keep guard. What you see is only half truth. Now be quiet, or you will greatly regret ever opening your mouth, Rogart said in a snapping tone of voice. Yes, my lord, the guard said, bowing. When we got into the keep, Rogart led us to the dining hall, where Verdaneris was sitting in his special little chair at the table. Where have you two been all day? Verdaneris snapped. None of your business, you little rodent, Valaris snapped back. Wait. Never mind. I can see by the color of your cheeks. 2 little muffins sitting in the tree. Kissin. Verdaneris didn't get a chance to complete his psalm before a piece of fruit knocked him off his chair and face first into a bowl of what looked like pudding. Valaris gave a satisfied smile and sat down next to me at the table. Will the king be joining us tonight? I asked Rogart, who had already begun picking at the smoking carcass of a large bird that looked like it had 4 wings. Afraid not. He's rather busy tonight. Rogart began eating away at the strange bird. After a late meal, I headed upstairs to my room. When I arrived, a servant was waiting for me with towels and soaps. I went inside after taking the towels and soaps and stopped dead in my tracks when I noticed the king sitting by the table. How was your day, John? Well, I trust? Yeah, your majesty. Very well. Thank you for asking. Might I ask the reason for your visit? Yes, you may. You are a very well-mannered man, John. How did you learn to be as such? From what I hear of your land, it's not a common thing, the king asked, looking a little impressed. You're right. It's not common for where I came from. I don't belong to that place anymore, your majesty. But if you must know, I learned proper manners to a king through books. Yes, John. I know it's not your home. To be honest with you, it was never your home. It was just a place for you to stay until the time came for you to return to your true home. Why don't you sit, John? The king asked, gesturing to the chair next to him. Thank you, your majesty. What do you mean by that? The whole thing about my home being here from the beginning, I said, sitting down at the chair he motioned to. That you will find out soon enough, John. I came to learn about this fighting style you said you learned back in the land you stayed in. What is it called again? Kempo Karate, your majesty. Interesting. What do you do in this style of fighting? It's a style of martial arts, sire. It's based on hand movements and strikes and the ability to use your opponent's force against them. Very good for getting out of fights quickly. I see. Do you know anything about the use of weapons, John? Did this Kempo teach you anything about swords? Yeah, I did learn to use the wooden staff and a sword called a katana. The king sat in front of me, thinking about what I had said. I think I have heard of this sword you speak of. Is it much thinner than a regular sword? It doesn't seem like a very strong sword. Fast, maybe, but not strong. Yeah, that would be the sword, your majesty. Yet they are amazingly strong when they were made correctly. Very good, John. I will see you in the throne hall before you leave in the morning. The king got up and walked towards the door. As soon as he opened the door, he stopped. Why, hello, Valaris. Interesting to see you here. What can I do for you, my sweet niece? No, your majesty. I came to see John, if I may, she said, bowing. Of course you may, the king said, watching her as she came into the room, and gave me a smile. Oh, I see. I will make sure none disturb you two, the king said, smiling as he shut the door behind him. Valaris was wearing the most beautiful white gown I had ever seen. She was barefoot, and on her head she wore a small silver circlet with a large opal in the center of it. The stone hung down just above her forehead. Her hair was down to her waist, and sparkled as if the stars had lent their glow to her for this night. Hello, John, she said in a low voice, and gave me the most beautiful smile. I stood, gasping for breath after looking at her beauty. I couldn't respond. My mouth was hanging open and my jaw refused to work. It is a custom that when an elf falls in love, she must prove her love to the one she has chosen. I don't know what it is like for a human, but an elf falls in love once, and only once, she said in the same soft voice. Well, humans can love many times in a lifetime, but it's customary to love only one through what we call marriage, I said, still not quite together. My heart was racing so fast that I was about to leap out of my chest. I see. I am here because of a similar reason. As I said, elves only fall once, and to the one they are meant for, John. I was meant for you, she said, stepping closer to me. The closer she got to me, the faster my heart raced. I don't know what to say, Valaris, I said, still lost for words or actions. My mind was racing as fast as my heart at that moment. She gave me a small laugh at my words before stepping in front of me. She then grabbed my hand and helped me up. She led me over to the bed and lay down, pulling me on top of her. This is how we prove our love, John, she whispered softly into my right ear. The rest of what happened that night is between her and me. Let your imagination lead you to what may or may not be the truth. But what I can say about that night is the fact that it was my very first true experience with magic. That is the end of chapter 7. Like I said, short but sweet. Lay some good groundwork for the rest of the book. I will be recording chapter 8 soon. Slightly longer, but the book's starting to ramp up from here on out, and things are about to get interesting. If you're interested in finding this book, it's on Amazon. You can search for Emperor of Continia or the Dromon Saga, Dromonsaga. That will lead you to both my books, 1 and 2. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and until next time, have a great night.